Good morning, YouTube. This is CN Maritime History here, back again with another video. And this morning I'll be talking about the HMS Hampshire. The HMS Hampshire was a World War I Devonshire class armored cruiser. There were 6 of them. Built for the Royal Navy in the first decade of the 20th century, she was assigned to the 1st Cruiser Squadron of the Channel Fleet upon her completion. After her refit, she was assigned to the Reserve 3rd Fleet in 1909 before going to the Mediterranean Fleet in 1911. She was transferred to the China Station in 1912 and remained there until the start of the First World War in August 1914. She hunted for German commerce raiders. And you know what, that's just the introduction. I'll just get to the design and description. The Hampshire was designed to displace 10,850 long tons, or 11,020 tons. The ship had an overall length of 473 feet 6 inches, a beam of 68 feet 6 inches, and a deep draw of 24 feet. She was powered by two 4-cylinder triple expansion steam engines, each driving a propeller shaft. By the way, I know these pictures look similar. That's because they are all of the Hampshire. I realize they are grainy. That is because they are from the early 1900s. And give a maximum speed of 22 knots, or 25 miles per hour. That may not seem fast, but in the ship world, that's pretty fast. Back then. The engines were powered by 17 Yarrow and 6 cylindrical boilers. She carried a maximum of 1,033 long tons of coal, and her complement consisted of 610 officers and ratings. Now, by the way, if you do hear my voice, like, crackle a little bit, or sound like, just, like, my nose is, like, clogged or stuff, if it sounds like that, it's because I do have a small cold. So, I just want to let you guys know that. Hopefully you guys don't click off the video because I have a cold. Their main armament consisted of 4 breech-loading 7.5-inch 191mm Mark I guns mounted in 4 single-gun turrets, one each fore and aft of the superstructure, which you can definitely see one in this picture, right up here at the front, and one on each side. The guns fired their 200-pound, 91-kilogram shells to a range of about 13,800 yards, or 12,600 meters. Her secondary armament of 6 BL 6-inch Mark 7 guns were arranged in casemates amidships. Now, on this picture, I don't know what those look like, so I couldn't point those out to you, but I do know the gun I was talking about earlier, the one mounted fore, which is here on the forecastle, and then there's one back here, which you can't really see, but those are the main guns. 4 of these were mounted, 4 of the main guns, which are located in this amidships area. 4 of these are mounted on the main deck and were only usable in calm weather, as the sea could come up over the deck. At a maximum range of approximately 12,200 yards with their 100-pound shells. Hampshire also carried 18 quick-firing 3-pounder Hotchkiss guns and 2 submerged 18-inch torpedo tubes. Her 2 12-pounder 8 CWT guns could be dismounted for service ashore. At some point in the war, the main deck 6-inch guns of the Devonshire-class ships are moved to the upper deck and given gun shields. If you don't know what a gun shield is, it's like a thin to thicker layer of metal that goes around the gun. The gun can swivel around. If you ever play Somerfield Rescue, I have a picture of it, but I forget. I was gonna include it in the video, but I don't know where it is. Sorry. But you probably know what it looks like if you say ever been on a big battleship or a destroyer, anything like that. The only destroyer I've been on, I don't think they had those. I really wasn't looking for them when we were on board the Laffy, but I don't think they were there. The casemates of these guns were plated over to improve seakeeping or to keep the water out, and the 4 3-pounder guns displaced for the transfer were landed. The ship's waterline armor belt had a maximum thickness of 6 inches and was closed off by 5-inch transverse bulkheads, meaning they go across the ship, like Titanic's. They're not longitudinal bulkheads where they can split down the middle of the ship. The armor of the gun turrets is also 5 inches thick, whilst out of their barbets. I don't know what a barbette is, to be honest with you. I believe it has something to do with, the gun turret itself. That was 6 inches thick. The protective deck armor ranged in thickness from 0.75 to 2 inches, and the conning tower, which was protected by 12 inches of armor. I would assume this part of the ship here is the conning tower. I could be wrong, maybe this is the crow's nest. I don't really know naval ship anatomy, but I think that's the conning tower. Hampshire, named to commemorate the English county, was laid down by Armstrong Whitworth at their Ellswick shipyard on September 1st, 1902, and launched on September 24th, 1903. She was completed on the 15th of July, 1905, and was initially assigned to the 1st Cruiser Squadron of the Channel Fleet, together with most of her sister ships of the Devonshire class. She began a refit at Portsmouth Royal Dockyard in December 1908, and was then assigned to the Reserve Third Fleet in August 1909. She was recommissioned in December 1911 for her assignment with the 6th Cruiser Squadron of the Mediterranean Fleet, and was then transferred to the China Station in 1912. This is her during World War I. When the war began, she was in, I hope I said this right, Y and was assigned to the small squadron led by Vice Admiral Martin Jerome, Commander-in-Chief of the China Station. She was ordered to destroy the German radio station at Yap, together with the armored cruiser Minotaur and the light cruiser Newcastle. En route, the ships captured the collier SS Elspeth on August 11th and sank her. Hampshire was too short on coal by then to make the island, so Admiral Jerome ordered her back to Hong Kong with the crew of the Elspeth. At the end of the month, she was ordered down to the Dutch East Indies to search for any German ships at sea, narrowly missing the German light cruiser Emden. The German ship had not been reported since the war began, and she sailed into the Bay of Bengal and began preying upon unsuspecting British shipping beginning on September the 14th. Hampshire was ordered there to search for Emden and remained there through October and November, together with the armed merchant cruiser Empress of Asia, which, if I remember correctly, was one of the sister ships of the Empress of Ireland, which that will be an upcoming video. Waiting for the raider, until she was destroyed on November the 9th by HMS Sydney. Hampshire then escorted an ANZAC troop convoy through the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea to Egypt. Hampshire was refitted in Gibraltar in December before returning home to serve with the Grand Fleet. She was assigned the 7th Cruiser Squadron in January 1915 and was attached in November to escort shipping in the White Sea. She returned home in time to participate in the Battle of Jutland on May 31st, 1916, one of Britain's most famous naval battles, in my opinion, where the sinking of the HMS Indefatigable, I think is what its name is, and HMS Invincible, which their designs would later improve on HMS Hood. That'll be a video. I'll bring my model. I'll make a face cam for that. I should be able to. After the Battle of Jutland, during the battle, she was never actually engaged and only fired 4 salvos of the German 2 scouting group that fell well short of their targets. In addition to shooting an illusory submarine periscopes throughout the day. Immediately after the battle, she was ordered to carry Lord Kitchener from Scapa Flow on a diplomatic mission to Russia via the port of Arkhangelsk. Now, Lord Kitchener, his title, he was Secretary of, I think it was Secretary of War, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he was Secretary of War. And he was on a diplomatic mission to Russia. And here's the rest of that story. Due to the gale force conditions, it was decided that Hampshire would sail through the Pentland Firth, then turn north along the western coast of the Orkney Islands. This course would provide a lee from the strong winds, allowing escorting destroyers to keep pace with her. She departed Scapa Flow at 16:45 military time, and about an hour later rendezvoused with her 2 escorts, the Acosta-class destroyers Unity and Victor. As the ships turned to the northwest, the gale increased and shifted direction so that the ships were facing it head-on. This caused the destroyers to fall behind Hampshire. As it was considered unlikely that enemy submarines would be active in such conditions, Captain Saville of the Hampshire ordered Unity and Victor to return to Scapa Flow. Sailing alone in heavy seas, Hampshire was approximately 1.5 miles off the mainland of Orkney between Brough, and Marwick Head at 1940 military time on June the 5th when an explosion occurred and she heeled to starboard. She had struck one of several mines laid by the German mine-laying submarine U-75 on the 28th or 29th of May, just before the Battle of Jutland. The detonation had holed the cruiser between her bow and her bridge, which would be in this, forecastle area. I don't know, I guess this would be the forecastle area. And lifeboats were smashed against the side of the ship. As you can see, there are some lifeboats here, and there are 2 on the other side of the funnels as well. And they were smashed against the side of the ship by the heavy seas when they were lowered. About 15 minutes after the explosion, Hampshire sank by the bow. Of the 735 crew members and 14 passengers aboard, only 12 crew survived after coming ashore on 3 Carly floats. If you would like to learn more about the Hampshire, I suggest you read Lost at Sea by A.A. Hoehling, Hoehling. It's a very good book, and it's very informative on this. I use this as part of a resource to make the video. Actually, that's what inspired this video. And a total of 737 were lost, including Kitchener and all of the members of the mission to Russia. Fritz Jobert Duquesne, a Boer and German spy, claimed to have assumed the identity of Russian Count Boris Zakharevsky and joined Kitchener in Scotland. Duquesne supposedly signaled a German U-boat shortly after departing Scapa Flow to alert them that Kitchener's ship was approaching. He was then rescued by the submarine as Hampshire sank. Now this is he claimed, but it's never really been confirmed. As Hampshire struck a mine, it didn't strike a U-boat. In the 1930s and 40s, this Fritz person ran the Duquesne spy ring and was captured by the FBI along with 32 other Nazi agents in the largest espionage conviction in U.S. history. But yeah, that's like a theory about the sinking, but I personally don't believe it. So if you do believe it, tell me down in the comments below. And if you visit the where is it? There's a memorial like in Scapa Flow where it's in Scapa Flow, where they actually have a salvaged propeller and one of the shafts from the Hampshire. It's bent, but it still looks pretty nice for how old it is. I mean, it's over 100 years old now. And there's a Lord Kitchener Memorial at Marwick Head, Orkney, if you ever want to visit that. Oh, yes, and here is it at Scapa Flow. It's at the Scapa Flow Visitor Center Museum, Lynes, Hoy, Orkney. And there's quite a few memorials to the crew of the Hampshire. But it's a sad sinking. I mean, it's even more tragic if from what I've heard about Secretary of War Kitchener, he didn't seem like a super nice guy from what I heard, but he sounded like effective in his, tactics. But yeah, so this is the story of the USS. Sorry, I have too many USS ships videos in the making right now. HMS Hampshire. If I remember correctly, this is my very first British naval ship video. And probably my next one's probably going to be either the Hood or the Invincible. The original Invincible. There might be more than one, but I don't know. I haven't really researched it yet. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have been to that Scapa Flow Museum and would like to talk about it, I have not gone there, so just tell me if it's any good or not. I'm sure it's an interesting memorial. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and have a good day. Bye.